You know what? Fair play, Larson. Fair play. Yo, what's up, everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to this episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Recapping the events that took place at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, once again proving why Miami is one of, if not the best NASCAR racetrack we currently have at the moment. Once again, another beautiful NASCAR race, clean race, not too many cautions, not too many controversies, long green flag runs, great tire strategy, fun finish, and what a race to cap it off. In the closing laps, it was what seemed to be a four-car battle for the win. You had Bubba Wallace, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, and Kyle Larson. It seems though that it would be between Bubba and Alex, but in that long green flag run, Larson just did what Larson does best, ripped the wall, was able to blow by the 19, get by the 23, and with help from Alex Bowman hitting the wall in the closing 10 or so laps, Larson was able to get by his teammate to take the lead and go off into the sunset to win at Homestead-Miami Speedway for the second time ever in his Cup Series career, his 30th career Cup Series win, which now makes him the third most successful Hendrick Motorsports driver in history behind Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. Not too shabby to be in that company. Here's a look at the race results. So Larson wins, Alex Bowman in second, Bubba Wallace in third. He does get an extra point for having the fastest lap there. Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin, the top five. Chris Buescher, great one for him in sixth. And AJ Allmendinger, I said him in the pre-race show that he will be a dark horse. He now holds the best average finish among all active drivers at Homestead in the next gen era at 7th. Reddick in 8th, and what was a very odd day for him, Ryan Preece sneaks in the top 10, another great run for him, and Justin Haley in 10th, great run for him, and Zane Smith continuing on, another excellent run for that 38 team. William Byron in 12th, rebounding that after the last caution, the final caution, he came on a pit road and was caught speeding. 13th is Austin Dillon, he showed some good speed late in the race. Joe Logano rebounding for what was an awful day for him on pit road. Eric Jones, Noah Gragson, Josh Berry, Chase Elliott, unfortunately he was not able to do what Byron did because he also got caught having issues on pit road, having a penalty. We're going to talk about him a bit later on. Austin Cindric 19th, and Michael McDowell in 20th. A quiet day for Kyle Busch in 21st. Daniel Suarez had a good car, but ended up making it much more difficult for himself after spinning on pit road. Finishes in 22nd. 23rd is Nemechek, Stenhouse, Ty Gibbs. Again, another finish outside the top 20. Then Brad Keselowski, Ty Dillon, Cole Custer, Christopher Bell, who spun early in the race, and Todd Gillen, the top 30. And the final 7 positions, Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen, Riley Herbst, Cody Ware, JJ Yeley, Ryan Blaney, and Carson Hocevar. Now, the reason why Ryan Blaney, we're going to talk about him right now. He led the most laps, 124. He had, in my eyes, the best car, won stage 1, but once again, for the third straight week, a DNF, and 2 of those 3 straight weeks, an engine blown that caused him to retire from the race early. Absolute, just tough break for Ryan Blaney, because once again, he had a car. The last 3 weeks, maybe not so much Phoenix, but last week at Vegas, had a car capable of winning, drove from the back to the front, got caught up in someone else's mess, and again this week, did nothing wrong, running his own race, and was running down Larson and Wallace at the time in the closing laps, which was around 60 or some odd laps to go. He was running them down before his engine expired. So tough break for Ryan Blaney there. Let's talk about the guy that finished in second place. Alex Bowman started on pole. He had a quiet day. He led laps, but wasn't the guy that I felt that had race winning speed. Something clicked in that last run to the finish line. We had a long green flag run, and something clicked in that 48 where I started around the 4th or 5th position, was able to drive his way up to the front. And I didn't think he had that race winning speed because Bubba was out about a second or so lead, but he was able to conserve his tires a lot better than Bubba, was able to go by him. And I thought this was Bowman's race, but Larson just got him at the last second with 10 to go. I felt like it could have been a much more difficult race had Bowman not hit that wall, but I think eventually there was nothing Bowman could have done. I think he used up his stuff much more than what Larson did, and I just didn't think he was capable of defending Larson. Let's talk about Bubba Wallace, the guy who finished in third. This 23 team, like I said, he's having a much better, miles better start to the season this year than last year. Now, last weekend at Vegas, a track very similar to Miami, had a great car, got stage points, but got caught up in someone else's mess. He has had a much better start to the season. And today, even though he didn't get the stage points, he did show a car that was capable of winning. And that's the thing. For Bubba to get back into victory lane, first you got to show up and have speed. You have speed more and more week in and week out. Eventually, one of those weekends, a win will show up. So he led a lot of laps, was up front, showed great pace, was not able to hold off Bowman, but did a really good job before the Blaney engine explosion, did a really good job of holding off Larson and Hamlin and Blaney. He did a great job. I felt like he was going to get swallowed up by them because I felt the 5, the 11, and the 12 had much better cars than them, but fair play to the 23. He held his ground and did the best that he could. Denny Hamlin led 15 laps in his first race with Progressive on the car. Then again showed speed, showed great pace, didn't have the race winning car that I expected to. I thought him and Larson were in prime position to run down those leaders, but his car seemed to fall off in that last run there. Chris Buescher in 6th. Again, him and Ryan Preece 6th and 9th. Those two drivers, they didn't really do much. They weren't in contention. They didn't really do anything explosive, but they did what they needed to do. They grind themselves to a top 10 finish. Sandwiched in the middle of that is AJ Allmendinger and Tyler Reddick. Both had opposite days. Allmendinger was in the top 10 for majority of the race, had a great run, but Tyler Reddick, for a guy that we all thought would be one of those drivers that was capable of winning, he had an unusual day, was outside the top 15 for majority of the race, just did not have the car, was even getting passed by Austin Dillon and then closing up on the race. But somehow, some way, he was able to fight that 45 car to a top 10 finish. And that's the thing, name of the game, even if you don't have the best car, you got to find a way to maximize points, maximize your day. And that's what this 45 team did. And right at the top 10, Justin Haley, again, he's another driver that no one had on their radar, didn't do anything, but somehow was able to pull a top 10 finish. Excellent run for that 7 team. Joey Logano 14th. He did not have a good day. He struggled. I mean, him and Austin Cindric, his teammate, they bumped a little bit in the beginning, near the beginning of the race on pit road. And then later on, again on pit road, Josh Berry and him came out on pit road, boom, made contact, including Larson. And that sent Logano and Berry spinning around. And that kind of killed Logano's day. Logano even had the hood up for a little bit, but they were never the same after that. Neither Berry or Logano. Larson, even though he had damage on the left side rocker panel, was still able to continue on and obviously still had the speed, but tough break for the 22 and the 21 car, who both I felt like had good runs to be able to finish in the top 10. Right behind him is Chase Elliott. Nothing really much to say about with Chase. He was non-existent the entirety of the race, finishing in 18th, a very odd day because really he was the only one that didn't show any pace. William Byron, though, he finished in the top 15, was able to rally back after that speeding penalty, but he also didn't really have the car. It was the 5 and the 48, which usually when we come to expect Hendrick Motorsports, it is the 5 and the 24 or the 5 and the 9, but the 5 and the 48, that hasn't been a duo that we have seen a lot up front. I talked about drivers in the pre-race show, Daniel Suarez, Ty Gibbs, and Brad Keselowski. These are drivers I felt like need to capitalize, need to have good runs. Suarez, like I said, was on his way. He drove his way up to the front after starting at the back. I thought he had a really good car, but then he spun all by himself coming onto pit road and a green flag run in the middle of the race. And I think he was just never able to really recover after that, finishing in the 22nd spot. Ty Gibbs and Keselowski, 25th and 26th. The last thing that they needed, didn't get any stage points, didn't show any speed at all. I mean, I don't know what is up with those two drivers because they started this race outside the top 30 in points. Granted, we still have 20 races to go. Still, I mean, you cannot just rely on getting good finishes next week. You got to start winning now. I feel like for the 54 and the 6 car is going to be a rough season for those two drivers. Christopher Bell, I mentioned him. He spun early in the race all by himself, tapped the inside wall, and then he was just gone, non-existent for the entirety of the race, multiple laps down. Just something happened in the car. I didn't think that contact in the front nose was that significant, but clearly it was from an aerodynamic perspective. Didn't seem to have the car that was capable of being able to contend with the leaders, and he was just a moving cone. He was a moving cone, just there to get out of the way. And yeah, just not a good day for the 20 team. A couple other notables, Ross Chastain. I don't know what happened with him, but he also just was gone. No, he was not a factor. Only time he was shown on camera was when he was going a lap down. In fact, the only time I can remember Ross Chastain was the battle between, I believe, him, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson in the closing laps of stage 2, and Chastain was in the way. That's the only time I remember him. Riley Herbst, I don't know how he finished 33rd, but I'm really struggling to justify the reasoning for him having that 23-11 ride. I'm really trying to find a reason for that because so far he has just been awful. Sandwiched in there is Shane Van Gisbergen. It's kind of now expected to see him this far back. We talked about Blaney in 36 and Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar did a very interesting strategy early on where he was in the back of the pack, 30 some odd place, and they elected to take 4 tires. And, they had his crew chief, they had him tell him, listen, conserve your tires, don't push. He did that, stayed out, started in first, restarted first after a caution, stayed out, was able to hold on for 6th until the next round of green flag pit stops. It was a great call strategy-wise. Unfortunately, he had engine issues that took him out of the race and he ended up finishing in dead last. But it did look like he was on his way to having a very solid finish. So that's a tough break for him in that 77 ride. As for the race itself, like I said, it was great racing all around, great battles, clean race, some very fun racing, especially in stage 2, like I mentioned with Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. Those 2 drivers driving their way up to the field since they were on a different strategy than what majority of the drivers were. What they were doing is that they were staying out on the racetrack a lot longer than the other drivers in a green flag cycle so that while they will get bit early on, they will make their money. They will make their bread in the latter half of a run. So in the closing laps of a stage, you saw the 5 and 11 just with much fresher tires just drove by everyone else up to the front. Hamilton was able to hold off Larson to win stage 2, but that was some fun racing. And that's one thing that I love with Homestead. Fun racing all around. Different strategies, tires mattered. It really seems as though as it was the driver that was making a difference, not the car. Last shout out to Chase Briscoe, finishing in the 4th position. I mean, Joe Gibbs as a whole is having a weird year. I can't explain it. Yeah, you have Christopher Bell winning 3 races. Denny Hamlin, he's now coming off of a few top 10 finishes in the middle portion of the season after a slow start to the beginning. But you haven't heard much from the 19. Obviously, we know about their penalty in Daytona that was reversed. But it's nice to see this 19 team show some great pace, great speed, and be able to be a contender. It wasn't a race-winning contender, but it's nice to see that 19 car be up front once again, since we've kind of not been used to that in the last couple years. So that was nice to see. Overall, my thoughts on a scale of 1 to 10 this race, I gotta give this an 8.5 out of 10. It was a great race. It wasn't an amazing race, like fantastic, but it was a really good race. That's really all I could say. I can't really complain about it. It wasn't anything shocking, but it was very good, very entertaining, and I really enjoyed it. I wish I could say the same for IndyCar, but unfortunately they didn't see a good part of the race. But what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you not? As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.